Hello, everyone. It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer, and welcome to Lost in the Wasteland, where I interview friends and colleagues and just fellow movie people about their perspective on movies. And right here, I have my friend Bobby. Bobby and I have known each other for 10 years because I remember one of the first times we hung out was the Raw after the Royal Rumble in 2011, which is weird because 1 month from now, that is actually going to be 10 years.
Crazy.
We're writer folk over here. We're also both math people, so we could talk about math, but we're here to talk about movies.
You see, we teach math, so we know that you don't want to talk about math.
Very true. That is very, very true. But to kick things off here, Bobby, I like to ask this first question of what is your favorite movie?
You know what? It's honestly tough to say. I really don't have a favorite movie. I can name some movies that I kind of go back to often.
Okay.
I know it's not quite what you're looking for, but it's really tough for me to pick one.
I'm the host. I make up my own rules. So go ahead, Bobby.
Sounds good to me. All right, so let's see. Step Brothers is a classic. I mean, I always wind up going back to that. I think The Other Guys is pretty underrated. I can always go back to that. I don't hear quite as much about that one, but I can honestly just, if it's on, I'll watch it.
I feel like
Uh,
I could quote that movie every day of my life.
right? Let's see, what else? Classic Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, Adam Sandler's original hits. Uh,
Not his new Netflix movies or Jack and Jill.
ooh,
Ooh.
we don't talk about that.
Talk about what?
Let's see. I know there's some that I'm forgetting. I mean, obviously, I'm a big Star Wars fan. Just before this interview, Shane and I were kind of talking about Star Wars on the side and Mandalorian and just everything that's going on with Star Wars right now. So, yeah, I'm pretty into Star Wars. I'm pretty into the MCU, the Marvel Universe. I've always had a soft spot for Iron Man. When I was a kid, I loved science. So when I saw Tony Stark messing around with the technology and building his first suit in a scrap in a cave, or out of the scraps in the cave, uh, I just thought that was awesome. And just how far things have gotten with Tony Stark. In case no one has seen Endgame, I'm not going to say anything, but it's
Just
pretty cool.
single tier. Oh,
3,000 tears.
oh no. But I definitely I could definitely agree with I love me some Will Ferrell, Adam McKay movies, and Adam McKay should stop making serious movies and team back up with Will Ferrell because I think Will Ferrell is lost without him. Um,
I
but
think so, but if I can add real quick, was he involved in what was the Sherlock Holmes movie that he did?
Holmes and Watson,
Holmes and Watson. Was that Adam McKay?
it was Eaton Cohen.
Oh, okay. I see the problem here.
Yeah, because that wasn't well, and that was sad too, because it's like, oh, they got John C. Riley and Will Ferrell back together again, but we don't want to watch this.
Oh, well, it's kind of like what was the other movie? Daddy's Home, right? Wasn't that the one with what's his name?
I love that movie because,
Wahlberg.
like, going back to the other guys, Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg have amazing chemistry together, and they're hilarious. But my God, that movie, why? And then they made another one and put John Cena in it too, and Mel
They
Gibson.
did. Yes,
So
just because.
just because, and it's just like I miss the days of Adam McKay, Will Ferrell movies, but like we did speak extensively about Star Wars before we actually started recording because I got a chance. Like Bobby and I went to go see with his brother Michael went to go see Solo when that came out, and so interesting to see where Star Wars is going. Mandalorian. If you haven't watched it, what are you doing with your life? Go check out it on Disney Plus right now during the holidays. It's like it's only 16 episodes. So like you could burn through the 2 seasons pretty quickly, and it definitely doesn't feel long. Just
Yeah, it's an amazing series, and I honestly think season 2 is better than season 1. Like season 1 was cool because everything was just getting started, but season 2, especially the second half, I think really started to pick up. So I think Star Wars fans are in for quite a treat.
mhm. Now, Bobby, what is your earliest memory of going to the movies?
You're gonna hate me because I can't think of one. I mean, I think back to when did Elf come out?
2005?
All right, so it must have been earlier. Uh,
When did it? 2003. Damn, that's 17
okay,
years old.
so so let me think. I'm gonna rattle off some old movies that I went to the theater, and I'm gonna see what came first. So you're gonna
Okay.
help me with this one.
Okay.
Uh, Fan- Phantom Menace.
That was 99. I remember sitting in the theater. I went with my aunt and she fell asleep. And I'm just sitting there like, Star Wars.
um, let's see. I must have seen some sort of Disney and Pixar movie. Maybe the first Toy Story.
Makes
First Toy
sense.
Story.
Because
When
like
did that come out?
95.
Okay.
Because I remember, because one of my earliest memories is going to see Space Jam in a theater.
Ooh.
Going to take it to the jam. And now we're getting a second one, which is really weird. I don't know how to feel about it.
It's got LeBron James. Just don't.
LeBron James.
LeBron James. I
But
love that meme.
oh, it's so interesting because like most of the people I've interviewed so far, like around my age and maybe a little younger, maybe slightly older, but it's just like went to go watch Disney movies. That's what we did as kids. And like Elf's a good one too, because you were born in 92, right, Bobby? So like you would have been
Mhm.
11. That's still an early movie memory. And then of course, like all of us kids going to see Phantom Menace for the first time and being like, pod racers. And
You're
Darth
right.
Maul
And
was the coolest.
he was the coolest. Pod racers were cool. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And by the way, they had some cool arcade games way back when. The Star Wars trilogy, I played that game like there was no tomorrow. I think I played it with you actually.
Oh
If
no,
you
I watched
remember,
Bobby beat that.
yeah, I think I went through like $4 worth. So $1 for like the initial playthrough, and I must have died 3 times because you have to die, otherwise, you're not going to spend much money. So, you got to spend something.
You gotta
But
support the game.
exactly, and I'll tell you, that's a game I could gladly support. Like if they had that for like a VR thing, to where like you play through the original trilogy, shut up and take my money. Like I will take that in an instant. Uh, and the pod racer game was cool too. Like I loved actually having the pod racer controls and pressing the stuff. Like to kind of quote the meme, it's like it's working as like a 9-year-old kid and just going through everything. It was awesome. So
Oh, I played
call me a '90s kid, but amazing.
I played the Pod Racer game for the consoles and also my Game Boy. I had that. And I think it was one of the ones you had to put like a AAA battery into the game.
Oh wow.
Oh, what was it? Pokemon Rumble or whatever, the pinball game. Like some of those old Game Boy games, you actually had to put a battery into it for like some of the stuff to work and like the rumbling. And it's like you ram into the side on the pod race and you're like, good memories. Living out our childhood. So, Bob, do you have a particular favorite genre of movies?
It almost makes me feel like I'm on like a dating site where it's like trying to
We're
pick my
gonna
brain. But
find
I
your
like
perfect movie match here on Lost in the Wasteland.
Let's see. So I would say I like comedies, action, sci-fi. I'd probably say that's my top three. I'm not a big fan of horror. I just think it's kind of stupid. Horror, gore, I just don't have a need to watch. Um, I can get into more serious movies for sure. Um, yeah, I would definitely say that's probably in my ballpark, though.
So basically, Marvel movies that have the comedy, the action, and the sci-fi, perfect. Just check
Yeah,
all the boxes.
yeah, it
And, like,
checks all the boxes.
and honestly, like growing up as like a boy in the 90s, it's like we all watched Adam Sandler movies. Who's kidding ourselves? So like
Yeah.
we grew up with plenty of really silly comedies. Now, do you have any particular favorite like directors or filmmakers or anything like that in terms of movies?
I can't really say I do. I never really focused too much on that. I mean, I guess I mean, obviously John Favreau and Dave Filoni.
We got some
uh,
recent bias here, but we're all digging what John Favreau and Dave Filoni are putting out there right now.
oh yeah. Uh, let me think actually. Um, I guess going off of the whole Adam Sandler thing and like Will Ferrell, I guess Adam McKay, right? I mean, I guess that's a fair one.
Yeah,
Uh,
I wish because the thing is like I really love The Big Short and like Vice was interesting, but I would enjoy him going back and making some dumb comedies again.
oh
Uh,
yeah.
because it's like we have our Anchorman, we have Ricky Bobby, we have Step Brothers, we have the other guys. We wound up getting Anchorman too, and just like there's just something so ridiculous and silly about them. And you know what? He doesn't mind making fun of himself either. He literally played a homeless man with a group of other homeless men who want to have sex in a Prius.
Dirty Mike and the boys. Don't
Dirty
forget.
Mike and the boys.
That's why I lock my car every night.
We will have sex in your Prius again.
It was a beautiful car.
Oh my. So might have some answers here already, but are there any particular like you see an actor or an actress in the movie and you're like, you know what? I want to see that movie.
I Okay, so I would say yes and no because I feel like I have to watch the trailer and just kind of see what the movie's about regardless. So like think back to Adam Sandler now. Like, yeah, when I was younger, Adam Sandler, I'm in. Waterboy, in. Click, I'm in. But things started to degrade, and now he's just, you can't really take it seriously. Oh yeah, here's an Adam Sandler movie. It's probably gonna be terrible.
And then you get
Same
movies
thing.
like Uncut Gems, and you're just like, what? What?
I should have seen that. I haven't yet, and apparently it was really good. So
It's intense.
yeah,
And there's some lines that he delivers in that movie that you probably never would have expected to come out of Adam Sandler's mouth. But like he's funny in it, but he's also intense in it too. And but yeah, he only does movies like that every 10 years. Usually it's just, well, now it's how much money can I make Netflix? Or
pretty much.
let's go on a vacation with my friends. Because
Oh, grown ups, Evan.
they'll keep making grown-ups movies because people want to go see them. So, well, that's
You
why
know,
they do keep making Adam Sandler movies. They make money. So,
yeah, and I guess if you look at it, I guess from an outside perspective, or I guess from another perspective, it's actually not a bad thing. Like maybe yeah, the movies suck, but let's say one of his friends, like his actor friends, need money or something, he can just make a movie and just hook them up. So I guess in that regard, it's pretty nice.
Kevin James
So
is set for life. Rob
Kevin
Schneider,
James,
David Spade, all set for
yeah,
life.
pretty much.
And it's funny, like watching, like, cause like basically, I really enjoy the Hotel Transylvania movies, and there's three of them, and basically just all of his friends voicing monsters. It's basically the movie, and then throw Andy Samberg in. So it's just like that's what you get, and they're a fun time. But and that you just have to go to a recording studio, so that works too.
Yeah. By the way, I know before we continue on, I apologize if my camera is shaking a little bit. I'm actually on my phone right now, so I'm not using my laptop, but my laptop camera isn't quite as good as this one. So I figured just in case there were any technical issues, which ironically we had the headphone issue, but um,
It is what it
uh,
is.
it is what it is. So if my camera shakes a little bit, or maybe I just take you for a ride somewhere, I apologize.
It's actually
So
Paul Greengrass is directing Bobby's end of the end of the interview here. We're in a Jason Bourne movie.
exactly.
Exactly. Now, I think I might have gotten an answer for this already, but what movie do you feel like you could watch like every day or just watch over and over and over again?
Yeah. So like I was saying, I would definitely go with Step Brothers is a must. The Other Guys is a must. Um, I would watch Star Wars. You know, if it's on, I'll check it out. Let's see what else. By the way, I think that's kind of excluding the sequels. I feel like I'm not quite as into them as I was the originals and even the prequels, but that could be just because I grew up with them. Although
Fair.
episode 3 was pretty badass. It was pretty cool. Um, let's see. Adam Sandler old school movies. Mm, oh, okay. Here's one I did not mention yet, and this is
Okay.
perfect because a sequel is coming out this year or this upcoming year. Coming to America.
Oh my God.
That's a movie that I just watch over and over again, and I feel like the comedy in that movie, it just doesn't get old. It honestly doesn't.
So here's a funny story. So Bobby knows my girlfriend Jess, and she had to put me on a token system because how many times I quoted one particular joke from Coming to America. Because it's like, I'm out to a restaurant and I order the soup. The waiter brings out the soup. And I'm like, waiter, try the soup. It's like, I don't want to try your soup. Try the soup. I don't want to try your soup. Try the soup. There's no spoon. Aha! Aha! And like I would do that way too often. And she's like, you only get like a couple of these a day. You're not allowed to do this anymore.
Uh,
I don't know why I love that joke so much, but like how stupid it is and how unexpected it is. Cause like what's this guy getting at? And it's Eddie Murphy playing like an old Jewish man at a barber shop. And it just works. And Coming to America is so great. And what we got a little over 2 months before Coming to America comes out on Amazon. So I know they just released a trailer and everything. So I'm excited for it.
it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be good. I don't know if it's gonna be as good as the first one, but I think this sequel. I mean, it's gonna be hard to do, but it's got to be better than Zoolander 2 because if it's not, like, wow, you really just strive to be terrible.
So Bobby and I can share in this because love Zoolander, and we wanted to go see Two-Lander together. Ugh, ugh, no. The worst part was I had a double feature that day at the theater because saw Deadpool and then saw Zoolander 2 in the same day. And Deadpool's like, holy crap, Deadpool. And then, oh no, no, no. no, we don't like this. And like, I feel like the only redeeming quality of Zoolander 2 was like three-fourths of the way into the movie when Mugatu showed up.
Right?
Spoilers, but like, sorry. At
To
this
be honest, we're not sorry. We're doing you a favor by not having watched that movie.
because like low key, Mugatu was the funniest part in the one of the funniest parts in the first Zoolander. It's just like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Oh, just Will Ferrell was so great in that, and like Jerry Stiller. That's what I'm talking about.
He wasn't even in the second one.
No, they killed him off, right? Like in between movie, like they had that like beginning part of the movie where they like, like this is where they've all been for the past like 16, 17 years, and like I think his wife died in the collapse of his like center for kids trying to learn and read good. And like I'm just like, what? No, don't go see it. Don't. Nah.
Just
Ugh.
don't bother. Rewatch the first one. Just rewatch the first one. That's what we do. So take our word for it.
Now, Bobby.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Actually, if you don't mind, I want to ask you at some point a few questions, but I have one now that I kind of thought of.
Okay.
So you saw Deadpool first,
Uh-huh.
and then you saw Zoolander 2. Do you think your experience would have been better in that order or the reverse order where you saw Zoolander 2 first and then Deadpool?
I feel like I would have loved Deadpool more if I had watched it after I watched Zoolander 2. And that's the thing about expectations. It's like I could watch the world's worst movie and then watch another movie and be like, "Oh my god, this is so refreshing and amazing." And then or it's like you can watch a movie that's so great and then watch something bad afterwards and absolutely hate it even more because it's like you just ruined it. I was having a good day. I saw this movie, I saw Deadpool, and then you're just like, and then, ugh, ugh. But yeah, I think
Ruined your good
ruined the good day. Soiled it. Soiled
Soiled it. Soiled it.
it. Now, Bobby, what's a film that you enjoy more because it's related to an interest of yours?
Easy. So I got a few. Happy Gilmore, Miracle. You could think of the connection there. I'm a big hockey fan,
Yep.
and the story 1980s U.S. Olympic team. It's amazing, and it's legitimately based on a true story. And I wound up seeing some sort of like I think it was HBO, an
Mhm.
HBO special on it afterwards of the real story on it, and it was cool hearing just yeah, Disney had some stuff right, but it was also fabricated a little bit, or at least toned down to make it nicer to a general audience. And there was some interesting scenes that happened behind the scenes. So if you remember, because I know Shane, you've seen this movie, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Afterwards, USA, right? They beat Russia, but that wasn't the gold medal game. So they
No.
had to face another team gold medal game. And they kind of breezed through that in the movie because it's like, oh yeah, the whole story's on the Russian, the Russian team because the Soviet team at the time they were just so dominant, like no one could beat them. And obviously this group of college kids wind up beating this elite team, but
Mhm.
then you have this other hurdle, and they wind up playing the game, and I think they're down in the game going into the second period or going into the third. So it's the second intermission, and Herb Brooks flat out says, if you guys lose to these guys but beat the best team in the world, you're going to take it to your effing graves. And I think the third period rolls around and they score like, I don't know if it's like 4 goals or 5 goals, but they wind up tearing it in the third. And that's something that you don't hear about, but
Mhm.
you know, if I hadn't, been a hockey fan and really watched Miracle, I probably wouldn't have really cared as much about, that whole 1980 Olympic story as much, maybe a little bit, but I think just having that connection really helped me go further and search out that special. So, yeah, I would say as far as interest, those two movies are right there.
So, couple of thoughts, because I knew you were gonna pick a hockey movie, because I know Bobby too well to realize like he loves his hockey, and I was like, is he gonna say Mighty Ducks? Because we all grew up in the '90s.
Oh, yes. By the way, I know I'm going to forget this, so I should say this now. I should have said it sooner. Another movie that I can go, like, I can watch anytime it's on, Mighty Ducks 2. I know Mighty Ducks is the original. I don't want to talk about 3. Mighty Ducks 2 with Team Iceland and Gunnar Stahl.
Oh, man. And
Perfect.
they bring in all because like they become like a USA team, so they bring in a couple of new players, and like the one was from Bangor, Maine, and you had like the Basham brothers and stuff like that.
Perfect movie. It just
and now they're making a new Disney Plus series of the Mighty Ducks that's going to be coming out, which is interesting. They're bringing back Emilio Estevez. But
that's cool.
My two thoughts about the Miracle situation, it's like I equate it to playing Mortal Kombat 4 for the N64. Because let's be real here, Goro was the real challenge, who was like second to last. And I know because I never beat him. So I'm not very good at fighting games, and I never beat Goro. And I'm like, who could possibly be after him in this game? And I can't even beat him. But so there's that. And also, like, I'm a football fan, and there's been years where it's just like nobody gives a shit about who's coming in from the NFC. The real game to watch had always been like Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game, because like whoever they beat, like whoever wins that game, the NFC team's gonna have a hard time anyway. Yeah. And now it's so weird because Tom Brady's in the NFC. The NFL's getting so weird now. God, and just to put this out there, I'm a Giants fan. I thought they were gonna win 0 games this year, so like 5 wins. We'll take it. At least they're not the Jaguars or the Jets.
I was going to say the Jets had the number 1 pick in their hands and they blew it.
They blew it by winning. And now the Jaguars are. So,
what's a bigger fail, the Jets or the Falcons? Because the Falcons have found every way to lose this year.
Incredible. But they haven't lost bad enough to like get the top pick,
which makes it worse.
Because like I was looking at it, because I think the Falcons get the number 5 pick as of right now, and the weirdest thing is the Eagles get the number 6 pick. So I'm from South Jersey, so I'm just surrounded with Eagles fans, and they were supposed to win this division, and now they're 4-10-1. The Giants are 5-10. Shit. The Giants could still make the playoffs. If they beat the Cowboys next week and the Washington football team loses to the Eagles, the Giants win the division at 6-10?
Such a joke.
Such a joke.
I'll tell you, none of our teams are doing good. Jets aren't, Giants aren't, the Falcons aren't. Like, I saw one of our old college friends is a Falcons fan, and obviously the whole 28-3 thing happened, but then a whole nother thing happened where Brady beat them again from comeback from behind fashion, and I feel bad.
Poor
It's
Dan.
yeah.
It's a sad year to be like all the people I know that like football. Well, here's the thing. My stepmom's a front runner. She was a Jets fan for years. And then all of a sudden it's like, no, I'm a Packers fan. I don't care about the Jets. I'm like, oh. So Aaron Rodgers is going to the playoffs.
Of course.
I will not abandon my Giants no matter how bad they are. But you know what? They might make the playoffs at 6-10, and they'll probably win the Super Bowl because that's how the Giants do it. Because both years they won the Super Bowl in when I was a senior in high school and a sophomore in college. They should not have won those games, but they did, and that's what matters. So
Take that time.
now, Bobby, what do you have a particular movie character that you feel like you connect with?
Let me think about this.
Okay.
Can you give me a second?
Mm-hmm.
Hello there.
That was perfectly timed. You go, Bobby.
Thank you. It's tough to really say. I mean, I've I've obviously liked certain characters, but to put someone and connect them to myself, I don't know. I guess I've never really put much thought into that.
And that's
Just because I like watching the story, and I like things that happen with the characters.
mm-hmm.
Like if some grand thing happens, oh, this guy is coming from behind and something happens, like the scene is cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I guess
he's just being modest here. He's actually Han Solo. So
I'm Han Solo.
Everyone.
I don't mean to brag, but I did shoot first.
Actually, he's Obi-Wan Kenobi. And there he goes. Pew, pew.
Now I'm Solo.
Now you're Solo. He's actually Obi-Wan. Hello there. If he doesn't say that in Kenobi, well, here's the thing. He has to say that. And when he does, I think that'll get the biggest reaction out of anything that could possibly happen in that show. And that's the power of memes. So, actually, here's a fun question, Bobby. What's a movie that you love that you feel like would surprise people?
Ooh. Now, surprise because no one should like this movie, The Room.
No.
Because knowing my personality.
I know way too many people who love The Room just because they have fun with it, but like I can't. I've watched it from start to finish once and I'll never do it again.
I'll tell you, once you watch it once, I feel like you can probably survive off the clips. Like if you can just watch the clips, you're set.
I'm okay doing that. Like I can watch him go into like, oh, hi doggy. Oh, Johnny, I didn't realize that was you. Oh my God.
I'm trying to think of some movies that I've seen and just kind of going back to it. I guess. So like I said, I'm not a fan of like horror, and it wasn't really horror. It was more suspense than anything. The Gift was a good movie.
That movie was messed up.
It was.
Messed up. Jason Bateman, how could you? I love Jason Bateman too, and that's the thing. He could be such a great, like, nice guy. Like, first 3 seasons of Arrested Development, Michael Bluth, before they kind of ruined him, at least in my opinion. I did not like him nearly as much in the 4th and 5th season, but, like, he's such a nice guy. And then you can have him be a complete asshole. Like in The Gift.
Yeah. I was going to say he had The Gift, Arrested Development, Dodgeball.
Oh, this is a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out.
I
that
feel like I'm watching a Bear video, Cotton.
it, that is like the most random performance I've ever seen of Jason Bateman, because like I don't think I've seen any other movies where he's played anything like that. He's just like this weird, like sporty kind of like airhead. And then you have Gary Cole, who's like this super serious play-by-play dodgeball commentator.
They made it work.
Oh, it's so hilarious. That's a movie I could watch over and over and over again. And the funniest thing is like Christine Taylor was actually married to Ben Stiller for years, and him doing all those weird things to his wife in that movie. Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
Well, it's funny because they're actually split now, her and
Mhm.
Ben Stiller, which
Yeah.
makes it interesting. I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I think they were split at the time of Zoolander 2. I don't know if during the filming, but I think they were split at that time.
That would be interesting to check out.
I
I'll
could
do
be.
research later, because like that would make a lot more sense why that happened. But God, didn't think I was going to talk about Zoolander 2 twice on the show today, but we did. So, my last question for you, Bobby, is what do you love most about movies?
So I think, okay, so going to a movie, I'm going to talk about just going to the movies and
Okay.
then maybe bring it to just movies in general. But right now, this is where my mind is going. I think just going to the theater, just thinking back to the memories with my brother and just family members in general, going to the theater, nice, quiet, dark room and big screen, and you get to have fun with everything. And, you know, you don't have, well, hopefully, any distractions. It's just you in the movie enjoying some sort of story that's got maybe some action, some comedy, depending on what you go for.
Mhm.
um I think I just I like having time to myself. It lets me escape from the harsh realities of the world, especially now during the pandemic. Like, I think it's nice just sitting down for a few hours and just watching some mind-numbing movie about something, just something interesting. And when you're done, oh, that was great, and you can just go back to doing what you had to do. Um,
I could to build off of the point of like going with like you enjoying it with your brother, because like I've actually seen a movie with you and Michael before. And like one of my most special moments in a theater, because like Bobby knows my brother too. And going to see Force Awakens and Ethan being head to toe dressed up as Kylo Ren, like the mask, the crossguard lightsaber, everything. And that first moment where Kylo Ren throws a hissy fit, like smashing everything with his lightsaber, and me just like slow turning to my brother, staring at him, being like, that's you, 100%. And that was the moment I realized my brother was Kylo Ren for real. And stuff
I love Ethan.
like that. And like Bobby knows my friend John too. And John's a fun one to go to the movies with, because like he'll he's definitely a movie talker. And oh, just even stuff like I remember going to see Quiet Place with John, and we thought that I think the guy behind us was having some kind of like sinus issues, because every 5 seconds he was like, and like A Quiet Place is supposed to be like, and but this guy keeps clearing his throat every 5 seconds. I thought John was gonna murder him in the middle of the theater. And like that's the thing too, like going to see people, but like yeah, definitely during the pandemic, just being able to like escape into a movie. And And the irony is the best movies to escape with during all this crap would have been like big budget, like superhero movies and blockbusters, and they're the ones that all got pushed back. So like I know not a whole like a lot of people are hating on Wonder Woman right now, but like watching that for 2.5 hours, that was just fun. Just being able to sit there and be like, I'm watching a superhero movie right now. And I'm loving it. I'm just enjoying this. Maybe that's why I liked it more than other people. I was just happy to watch. But that's fair. Now, any other thoughts, Bobby?
So as I'm thinking along and like listening to your responses and everything, I feel like I'm thinking of more and more movies that I should have thought of before, like to
Okay.
list. So like I'm thinking of like Mortal Kombat right now. Like, yeah, it's not a good movie if you ask certain people, but I like the movie. I think, especially compared to Annihilation, I think the first movie you can actually sit down and kind of enjoy it. Like if you take it for as is and don't take it seriously, it's an enjoyable movie. And
When
it's kind of cool too.
well, when people say that they hate or say like it's atrocious, you can't watch Mortal Kombat, my response is I don't think so.
Did you hear he reprised his role in the video game?
Did he?
Yeah, so he did. They got the live actors for Raiden. Let's see, Raiden, Sonya Blade, and Johnny Cage, and they got them in the video game, and it's like the Mortal Kombat movie pack or something.
Oh
And
my god.
you saw that it was literally a shut up and take my money. The moment it was out, I purchased it.
Oh, I could watch Mortal Kombat anytime. That's and because the thing is, it's like it no like I felt like Annihilation wasn't fun. Like something happened between the first movie and the second movie, but like the first Mortal Kombat movie knows what it is, leans heavily into this is silly and stupid as hell. And like Goro smashing his sunglasses and just being like, those were like $500 sunglasses, asshole. And then like him doing the splits and punching him right in the nuts and just like or even just like crap, what the hell's his name? Was it Kano? And just like, hi baby, did you miss me? And like, give me a break. Okay. And just like so stupid, but it's so much fun.
It's honestly such a shame that actor died because he would have been perfect. Like I feel like he should have been in this movie pack if he was still alive, just because he fit within that kind of group there.
Uh-huh.
But I think he's the reason why in future video games he's had that accent because he did such a good job at that role, and it was so kind of iconic with Kano at that point.
And like video game movies are so hard because obviously you need to like make a movie. And then some video games aren't structured like a movie. And like how do you make a cohesive film and story about a fighting game that's literally just like the original Mortal Kombat games? There wasn't a story. It's just like you fought up a tower. It was like, here's the next one. And like obviously there's a lot more story in them now, but like that first Mortal Kombat movie, it's like all it was an excuse for them to just have a bunch of fights. And whenever it's like flawless victory or fatality, and just like hearing Shang Tsung saying those things, I'm just like, yes.
So I think the first Mortal Kombat actually did have a not really a story, but like a kind of a story. So I think if I remember right, let's say like you left the menu for a bit and you kind of let it stand still, you would get certain like animations or certain like card scenes where like you'd have like a picture of like Shang Tsung and like it would give like a description of whatever. And I guess that's probably the extent of the story that you had. But yeah, you're right though. for some fighting games or whatever, maybe there's a little story, but to put it out on the big screen and to make it into a live action, like 2-hour movie, it's not easy to do.
Like, you think about it, it's like, how many great like video game movies are there? Not a lot. Like, you have like, they're still making them obviously, because like you had Sonic, which best part of that movie was Jim Carrey, like by far.
That was really a resurgence on him. Like
Well,
that Jim Carrey coming back.
I felt like I was watching early 90s Jim Carrey all over again. I'm like, oh my God, he's back. And like, I know like my brother's a huge Resident Evil fan, like the games, and he loves the movies, but like from what I can tell, they're not really like the games. Cause like I remember watching him play the original and like the second Resident Evil, and they're scary as hell. And I'm just like, they could have been like, I'm very interested to see if like they make it into like an actual horror where like it's actually scary. Like you're in this place, you barely have any bullets, and there's these creepy ass things chasing after you. But you know, we all have Mortal Kombat, and there's a new one coming out in a couple of months, and it'll be on HBO Max, so I'll be watching it.
Oh yeah. I feel like once I get the vaccine, I want to see that in theaters just because I feel like I've been waiting for so long for like a good Mortal Kombat movie after seeing Annihilation that I have to see this movie in theaters. You know, I have to.
And
But
like I'm
yeah.
like I'm crossing my fingers that things will be hopefully a little bit better by like that's a tricky thing because like April's very wishful thinking because most people aren't even going to have the vaccine by then. But like, God, I waiting for James Bond, waiting for Black Widow, and I'm like, I want to see James Bond so bad. And I'm like, please don't. And I don't know. We'll have to see if it gets pushed back again or anything. But it is what it is. That's the life we're living right now. It's strange times. But now, I'm glad that you said earlier that you actually had some questions for me because that's how I wrap up the show. So, Bobby, whatever questions you have for me, what do you got?
All right. So I have a few for you. So I think this is a good time to flip the role. So, first question I have is this: are you going to see movies like, let's say, how do I want to say this? Let's say a movie comes out on HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
They decide in the future, like let's say next year, we're going to re-release these movies in the theaters. Are you going to go back and see those movies? And if so, which movies would you see? If you were to anticipate, like obviously some have to come out still, but
it's interesting because like, and I guess the tricky thing is like if they wind up being good. If like I watch them on streaming or something like that and realize like because like I do kind of have the feeling like I would want to see Tenet in an actual theater at some point because like it need like that's the kind of movie you want to see. If like I wind up seeing because like Wonder Woman, I'm probably not gonna wind up going out of my way to go see that in the theater. I didn't love it that much. But like if it turns out that I have to like go back when like the new James Bond comes out or like even Black Widow, if that winds up getting put on like Disney Plus, I'm like, I want to see the Marvel movies in a theater and I want to see James Bond in a theater. So like those are probably the first two that pop into my head. If this whole HBO thing HBO Max stays the same how it's going, and I wind up seeing the new Suicide Squad on HBO Max, that's something I'd probably go back and watch in a theater. And then 100% Dune. If I don't see Dune in a theater the first time around, I'm definitely going to see Dune in a theater the second time around because even just watching that trailer, I'm like, I want to see that giant worm like staring down at me from that giant screen and just be like, oh my God. So I guess those are some of my answers. It's like I think if I had to pick any of them, Dune would be the one. If I don't get a chance to see that in theaters, I'm definitely going back and watching that in a theater.
Cool. Okay. I feel like for me, I kind of answered it already, but I'd want to see Mortal Kombat. And I think, I mean, anything Marvel, I would definitely want to see in theaters. But yeah, obviously it's tough times right now in the theater. So if you can eventually get to the point of seeing movies again in the theater, definitely do so.
Well, I'll be going back.
What's that?
I'll definitely be going back.
Me too. We'll have to see a movie at some point together because
Yes.
I think it was fun when we watched Solo last time.
If it turns out that way and we get a chance to go see Mortal Kombat, I cannot think of anybody else I'd rather go see that movie with than you. So
Let's make this happen. Either way, let's watch it. If it's HBO Max, if that's our only option, then one of us will go to our places and we'll hang out.
Yeah. And because I have HBO Max, so that's how Ethan watched Wonder Woman. He has my HBO Max account.
Oh, there you go.
So, but
let's see. Okay. Have you ever had a moment where it's almost like one of those walk-in moments where you've seen probably memes of this before, where your parent or someone walks in at like the most inopportune moment of a movie, and you know what I'm talking about? Either that, or maybe you see a movie with a relative, like a parent or something, and something happens in the theater, and you're just like,
so I actually have a moment of being in a theater with my mom. So I'm going to give a little context to the situation too, because like at that point I was single, and like Bobby knows this. I have no problem going to the movies by myself. I go to the movies all the time, like in normal times by myself all the time. I was going to the movies. I had stopped and saw my mom for a little bit before him because I was living in Lawrenceville at the time, and the only theater showing around me showing Killing of a Sacred Deer was the one AMC Voorhees, which is like honestly 10 minutes from my mom. So I stopped to see my mom beforehand and had dinner with her. And she's like, "You're going to the movies by yourself?" I'm like, "Yeah, do it all the time." And she's like, "I don't want you to have to go alone." I'm like, "Mom, you do not want to see this movie." And she kept pushing and pushing. And so she came with me. And there's a moment where Nicole Kidman is providing a hand to another character to get information from him. I don't want to be too explicit on my show right here, but giving a hand. And I'm sitting there like tunnel vision, like I am not going to look over at my mom. I don't want to know how my mom's reacting right now. I'm not going to look over at my mom. But like the worst is like when you're watching a movie, and especially like I think this happened to me one of the times that I watched Blue is the Warmest Color, which that film has very, very graphic lesbian sex scenes in it. And like I really enjoyed the film a lot. But like, there's moments when you're watching a film or movies like there's a sex scene in it, and people walk by and think you're watching porn or something. I'm just like, no, this is an actual movie. Thank you. But like those moments are so awkward, but they're bound to happen at some point. So be choosy about what movies you see with your mom.
Yeah, I think there needs to be a website where basically parent approved, and like you put the website in, no spoilers or whatever, and just green light or red light, just it's good or not good.
And to all the moms out there watching this, if there are any, listen to your children when they tell you this is not a movie you want to see.
Yeah.
Especially when they watch as many movies as I do, because they'll know this is not a movie you want to go see.
Yes.
And also a movie they don't want to see with their mother.
Yes. Sometimes you don't know as much about the movie, and sometimes, creates awkward moments. I have two, if you're okay with me sharing.
Go ahead, Bobby.
These stories, I don't think I've even told you, Shane, at this point. So maybe one I did, but definitely I don't think the other. So the first one, I'm going to go to the most recent one and then go back further. My mom is like, "Oh, sausage party. Is it Sausage Party or Sausage Fest? Sausage Party? Sausage Party. Oh, this movie looks cute. Let's see it." And I'm like, "All right. I mean, okay." So we wind up seeing it, and there's that one scene in the movie. If you've seen it, you know what it is at the very end.
Which, fun fact, Sausage Party was the first ever review I did for my channel back in 2016. And yes, like, Sausage Party is like the worst movie to see with your parents.
Yes, and obviously I mixed the name up because I tried to repress it from my memory because of that association. But it was just awkward, and I was like you, I was like, don't look, don't look, don't look, don't look over, just stare, just look down. I'm just gonna not look at my mom, and when the scene's over, then maybe I'll look, maybe.
Maybe. Or you just leave your mom at the theater. Just like, I can't look at you.
The second one was with my grandmother.
Okay.
So my grandmother, when I was younger, like not too young, but still relatively younger, she was like, here, I'll take you to a movie. So I went with her to see Elf back when Elf came out.
Okay.
I wanted to see Benchwarmers. And I go with her, and it's like, okay, it's a dumb, funny movie, but nothing too crazy. And then, granted, it's my grandmother, and she's older, and she's old school mentality. So I don't think she was having a good time. But then the one scene where the guys are pinching their nipples, and I just hear her go, "Oh my God." Like, oh.
Oh no.
I'm sorry, Grandma.
Oh no.
I don't know if she remembers it to this day. She's my one living grandmother left. I don't even know if I'd want to ask her, honestly, but I just remember at that time I was like, what did I like Anthony, I'm like, what have I done? Essentially, because I felt bad because she's an older lady. So even as a younger kid, I was like, I knew enough to where I don't want her seeing these kinds of movies, and she did. So sorry, Grandma, if you're watching this.
Good thing you didn't take her to see Sausage Party. Oh no. Oh man.
She would have walked out of the theater, kind of like my dad has done, although for different reasons.
Oh, that was a good one, Bobby. Those are some fun stories. Anything else?
Okay. What would you say is the most underrated movie that you know?
I'm like looking at my giant wall of movies next to me and thinking about what's a movie here that like
You've got a big wall of movies, folks. So
yeah, it might. So one that always pops into my mind, and I don't know why this always so quickly pops in my mind, is the movie The Accountant. And because like I think it has like a 50 or something on Rotten Tomatoes, which isn't awful. It's not like it has like a single digits on Rotten Tomatoes because there's movies on there. But like I think that was a really awesome movie. And the action, Ben Affleck, like John Bernthal, I thought it was really awesome, and I want them to make a second one. I know one that's very, very recent, which like I've been getting screeners. So like when you get a screener and like you get to watch a movie early and like review it and release it after an embargo lifts, it's like there's not usually reviews on Rotten Tomatoes for you to like get a bearing on like what are most people thinking about this. I watched this movie Wild Mountain Time, And I thought it was a weird, quirky, just fun time. I really enjoyed it. It has like a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. I'm like, oh. And even Wonder Woman 1984, I watched that screener. I'm like, I really enjoyed this. And then like I'm getting messages from like fellow reviewers and stuff. It's like, just watch Wonder Woman. Woof. So bad. I'm like, what? And then I'm seeing like all these reviews and social media posts coming out and being like, why was this movie so bad? I'm like, did I watch the same movie as all these other people? Because like you kind of feel that way sometimes. You're like, I just love this movie. And like everybody's like, this is trash. And I'm like, you're trash. But like, those are two recent ones, but like I never understood why The Accountant got such a lukewarm response from like critics and stuff like that. I really like it. And it's not just because I have a master's in accounting, so not biased in any way, shape, or form. But if you haven't seen The Accountant, it's a cool movie. You should check it out.
How old is The Accountant? When did that come out? Do you remember?
Either 2016 or 2017, I feel like. It's a relatively recent movie.
Yeah, I thought it was like an older movie. That's why I was wondering. I thought maybe it was like a 90s or 1980s movie, but
No, it's a 2016 film. It's from like the same director who made Warrior and like worked with Ben Affleck again with his film The Way Back that came out this year. Anna Kendrick's in it, J.K. Simmons, Jeffrey Tambor, John Lithgow. Like it's a really strong cast. It's a cool, interesting idea. Like this is a guy on the autism spectrum who's like an accountant, but like that's his day job. Otherwise, he goes in and does some like jobs and like he knows how to handle himself physically and use guns and all kinds of stuff like that. So like, and I don't think people realize this as much, but like Ben Affleck's a physically intimidating dude. Like you look at him in his Batman outfit and just like this dude's huge. Just because like Henry Cavill is like a mountain of a man as Superman is like it's a pretty cool movie. So yeah, it's from 2016. So it's a relatively recent movie. Those are the first things that popped in my head. And also like every 90s Adam Sandler movie has like horrible critic reviews, but like, come on. They're hilarious.
exactly.
Might be biased because I grew up with them, but like still.
Exactly. Yeah, like you have to take it for what it is. Oh, okay. So obviously you've seen a ton of movies at this point in time. Can you see yourself transitioning from movie reviewer to movie either producer or director or something, at least to more where you're on the more creative side of things at this point?
That'd be
Maybe,
so
but
cool. Because like I do write scripts and like I have a couple of screenplays and I've thought about trying to do something with them or like selling them maybe at some point if that's even possible. But like right now, because it's like I have a full-time job and then I have a part-time job related to my full-time job. And then all this stuff is like a second part-time job. And I don't know, and it's tough because like I love what I do full time. Like I love my job. I love like tutoring and teaching and being a part of that. Like I feel like if I didn't enjoy my day-to-day work, that might be a little more like might be a little bit more of a dream that I would chase. But like I do really enjoy what I do. It'd be really cool. It'd be the coolest thing ever. But I don't know, especially because like if you were to ask like a 21-year-old Shane this, I'm 29 now, and I'm just like, I don't know, probably have other priorities right now in my life and where it's going, but like, it'd be cool. Maybe someday.
I'm gonna say maybe someday, maybe on one of your summers off or something, you can get a little project going and even just chip away at it throughout summers. So,
Very true.
if people can become famous through TikTok dances and things like that, then why not? If you can come up with something big enough or good enough, even
I gotta learn how to dance better.
just got to
Get on TikTok.
in 2 moves. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's all they do on TikTok anyway. I mean, that's all I see.
So before we wrap up the show, I feel like I have to bring this up because this came up. But one of my favorite people to follow on social media is Jack Black, because he has made COVID so much better with all the ridiculous stuff that he does. Because like that, there's a dance from like that WAP music video, right? And like everybody does it on like, God, the amount of recommended videos I get on IGTV and reels on Instagram for it. But like Jack Black did it. It's absolutely hilarious. Because like he doesn't care. He has so much confidence in himself and he just goes for it, and it's hilarious. And this is why I love Jack Black. He does that in his movies. He just goes there, and it's so much fun. Like Jumanji would not work for most actors doing that, but he's so committed to being a teenage girl, and it's so hilarious because like it's very hard to make body part jokes work and not seem cheap and stupid. Jack Black made a bunch of, jokes work in Jumanji. So random, just throwing some shameless plugs for Jack Black and his social media accounts.
He seems like an awesome guy, honestly. Like, he seems like someone I would love to hang out with him and just get to know him, like just sit down, over dinner or whatever, like, or lunch or something. He seems like more of like a lunch guy, either lunch or like dinner at like a sports bar or something. And like, we just hang out and do something fun.
You get a hungover brunch at like a random diner with Jack Black. But like, it's funny that you brought that up because like one movie that I wish I could be friends with the main characters is I Love You, Man. Because like, I just want to be friends with Jason Segel and Paul Rudd from that and jam out to Rush together, because it'd be the coolest. Just a lap with the bass and just go for it. Just go for it.
Yeah, they seem pretty cool as well, actually. Especially you said Paul Rudd, right?
Paul Rudd's coolest.
He's cool. If you've ever seen his Hot Ones interview, he seems like a pretty genuine dude. Have you seen much of Hot Ones, Shane?
I don't think so. But is that the wing eating thing?
Yeah.
I think I actually saw bits of it. I think my favorite is, so like they made a Between Two Ferns, the movie, on Netflix. And he's one of the people Zach Galifianakis interviews. And he's just like, how's it feel being the most secretive practicing Jew in Hollywood? And to like Paul Rudd. And Paul Rudd's like, I'm not practicing. I perfected it. I'm just like, what? I'm just like, how did you make that work? And it's because he's so smug and sure of himself. The smile he had on his face when he delivered that line. I don't know how Zach Galifianakis held himself together interviewing. And I'm sure there's probably like, was that somebody driving?
Yeah. Don't worry. It was Deadpool on the motorcycle. It's fine.
That makes sense. But Bobby, this was a lot of fun. So thank you for coming on the show. So like, I know recently I've been interviewing a lot of my SIF Pop colleagues, and like, we write about movies all the time, and like movies is our big thing, but like, it's fun getting to talk to different kinds, because like, Bobby, I know you're not like a cinephile and you sit there and like watch film and stuff like that, but like, it's always fun chatting movies and fun movies with you. So, and we're definitely going to watch Mortal Kombat together.
Sounds good to me, man. Let's make it happen.
We could either do like a watch party or whatever when that comes, and I think that's in a couple of months. I think it's supposed to come out in March, so we're going to chat about that. But Bobby, thank you for coming on, and thank for all of you out there tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.
Have a nice day, everybody.